The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Let's hop into the main event, fellas. In the lightweight division for the undisputed light heavyweight championship, we had Islam Makhachev defeating Dustin Poirier by choke submission in the 5th round. This was an interesting fight. I feel like this was a card saving type of fight because other than this fight, it wasn't a whole lot going on with this card overall. If you include the prelims, you had the Holland nasty arm break, but besides that, not a whole lot going on with this card. But in that first round, Islam shot and got the takedown and roughed Dustin up on the ground for the majority of that first round. And round 2, Dustin was able to get back up from an early takedown, and it ended up being a pretty solid back and forth on the feet, and both guys traded shot. But I feel like Islam was able to steal that round when he got that takedown at the end of the round. And round 3, he landed Islam landed that big knee and was able to work his way on the inside and get the takedown. And Dustin was able to get back up after a couple of minutes, and I think Islam edged Dustin out on the feet for the remainder of that 3rd round. In round 4, about halfway through it, Dustin apparently hurt his leg defending that takedown, and I don't really know what happened because I didn't really follow up with the interviews after it. But Dustin was able to power through it and able to get some body work on Islam and cut Islam pretty badly in that 4th round. So he showed some fight throughout the fight. He just didn't give up. But Islam wasn't really trying to play that stand-up game and clinch with him towards the end of the 4th round, and did that for the remainder of the round. And halfway through that 5th round, they were grappling, and I don't know if I've seen this, but Islam got that leg pick and got him down to the ground, and then got the darce choke and was able to close out the show and get the win. And still your undisputed lightweight champion, Islam Makhachev. What were your thoughts on this one, Amir?
Yeah, I mean, it turned out to be a better fight than I expected. Take down right away in the 1st round, and I was like, oh, this is it. But I mean, Dustin, he defended so many submission attempts, and he did great on the ground through the whole fight. I think it was the 3rd round that Dustin's nose got broke. And then I remember what you were talking about with his leg is he did something. It's almost like he hopped on one leg trying to get out and maybe came down wrong and twisted his knee, but he did hurt his leg in that as well. Towards the later parts of the fight, I was like, man, Dustin could catch him, but then you could kind of see his power kind of dwindling the longer the fight went on. So even if he landed some clean shots, they weren't as hard as some of the earlier shots could have been. I wanted Dustin to win so bad and just have his moment, but it wasn't there. It was real surprising that he could defend so many submission attempts. Islam went for that neck so many times. Dustin played that, hold his head to kind of keep him away. So it was a good fight. Ain't nothing to be sad about on Dustin's part. Makhachev, I mean, I have my idea for who I want him to fight, but I'll let y'all go.
Steve?
Yeah, it was a good fight. Like Admire said, I was like, well, thanks for letting me stay up this whole card just to see you lose. But he got through it. And I was like, okay. And then started defending takedowns. I'm like, okay. And like you said, I think there was a grappling situation to where it was a kind of tussle. I think it was against the fence or something. I think I don't know if it was he never specified if it was a knee or something, or I don't know. I don't know how much that affected the fight, but I think I expressed on the last podcast to where I feel like he has the tools. He just has to be mentally focused and his mental power. And I think he kept it all the way until the end where that leg pick. And I think he chose time to rest where he shouldn't have. And I think that's what got him because he sat there on his knees after he got leg picked. And I'm like, you have to move. And he sat there and I don't think Makhachev, Islam, he sat there, wasn't trying to rest, so he grabbed his neck and it was a wrap.
Yeah. Dominant win by Makhachev. So there's two things about this fight. I guess the aftermath of the fight. Poirier, he didn't retire officially, but he pretty much indicated this may be the end of the road for him. So do we think this is the end for Dustin the Diamond Poirier? I?
I don't think it is. I think he's still pretty peak of his career, and he can still put on good fights. He can still make a lot of money. He doesn't have anything to gain, but he doesn't really have anything to lose. You know, he's been up there towards the top. He's fought for the belt. He hasn't made it. If I was him, I'd wait around another year, see if somebody can pick Makhachev off. Maybe somebody that's, Dustin's already beat or somebody he thinks he could beat. Maybe make one more run at it. But while Makhachev's up there, he can't.
Interesting take. What do you think, Steve?
Maybe so. I think he got a gift from the UFC for coming off that loss and then coming back with a win with Denise and then getting a championship fight. He didn't go through the ringer of 5 fights, or 4-fight winning streak to get a championship. So I don't know if they're going to give him another one of those. I don't think he'll retire just for another money fight. The news that I've heard, I don't know, but maybe there's I don't want to say it now, but maybe there's possibilities for the future for a fight, for a rematch. And I'm not sure if y'all saw the tabloids with the canceled fight with Chandler and Conor. You want to say
we'll talk about that a little later.
But maybe, possibly, maybe that's why he'll stick around.
I don't think it's anything for him to stick around because he's not getting another title fight, not at lightweight. So what are you fighting for? He's already financially secure. He doesn't need to stick around and lose brain cells doing fun fights, running it back with a Gaethje for a third time or anything like that. So if no title to fight for, why stick around? And got a little daughter to take care of and wants to have all his faculties when he's older. So I think I'm leaning towards him retiring unless he moves down a weight class. I would be intrigued with him and Ilia Topuria fighting, or him fighting Alexander Volkanovski. That's where he made his name in. When I was finding out who he was a featherweight, and we've seen older fighters drop down weight. We saw that with Jose Aldo. He dropped down weight later on in his career. And who's the guy that fought had the show with John Anik? He dropped down like two weight classes. So yeah, so I wouldn't be mad at him maybe trying to get another featherweight run, but I don't know if there's much for him to do at lightweight right now. And who am I thinking of? The guy has a podcast with John Anik, and he used to fight in the UFC. He used to fight at welterweight and dropped all the way down to featherweight. Kenny Florian. I don't know why his name was slipping my mind.
Oh shit, Kenny Florian. I think when he was on the Ultimate Fighter, I think he was like light heavyweight, and then he ended up dropping down to welterweight or something. He started out really high.
Yeah, and he finished off his UFC career in the featherweight. So it's possible. It's not like boxing where once they're up there, you stay up there pretty much. I feel like you see more UFC
He was,
fighters.
yeah. Kenny Florian was a middleweight on the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah. And he fought for the lightweight championship and finished his career with a loss fighting for the featherweight against Aldo. So yeah, I think it's either move down for Poirier or retire. But we'll see. But speaking of the champion, Islam, before we get into what's probably happened, Amma, you said you had an idea what you want him to do.
And well, there's only one person I think that is going to really give him a test, and it's related to the next topic as well. I think Michael Chandler is the only person that has a chance against Makhachev.
Why?
You're going to need somebody that has a crazy strong wrestling base.
That 11 uses it anymore though.
But I mean, he's a world-class wrestler. He doesn't use it much anymore, but I guarantee you that would be all he trains if he, does get a fight like that. My opinion, the McGregor fight isn't going to happen. The UFC is going to owe Chandler big time for putting up with all this shit for, 2 years now almost. So I think, if that fight doesn't happen, or if it does happen and Chandler wins, I think Chandler is going to be the next in line for Makhachev.
I don't know if I see that happening. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes UFC wants to do good graces with the fighters, and sometimes they don't. But it's no use of beating around the bush in this topic. Let's just get into it. So Conor McGregor had a press conference scheduled for, was it Monday? And it got postponed. And Conor McGregor was being cryptic about it, saying it was circumstances beyond his control, but they were scheduled to have it in Dublin. And Michael Chandler was about to get on the plane, and they called him and told him it was canceled last minute. So both of y'all kind of touched it already. Y'all think this fight is canceled?
Something's going on, because I didn't watch the whole presser, but I know at one point during the presser, Dana White said he was leaving straight from there to get on a private charter jet to go to Ireland to handle some business. So obviously he knew something was going on. The presser wasn't until Monday. He didn't have to leave right away. We've had this fight, they were supposed to be on the Ultimate Fighter and fight right after. Then the movie happened, and just like so many different things have happened. The speculation is something happened with McGregor, especially with Chandler coming out and telling everybody I was about to get on the flight and they told me it was canceled. So that means it wasn't anything with Chandler. What else could it be? It's kind of weird having a presser in Dublin for a fight that's in Vegas anyway, but I mean, I get why they're doing it. Conor McGregor's their biggest star. They're doing it in his home country, but to cancel it, something's going on. Either he's injured, he doesn't want to do it, maybe he tested hot, allegedly, speculating. I mean, there could be a lot of other things, but this is what happens. The UFC isn't being transparent about it, so we're sitting here left to guess what's going on when it's arguably the biggest fight of the year.
So does this fight still happen, if you were to guess? Late June.
It's scheduled for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I'm going with no. I'm saying the fight is off, because with them canceling the press conference, like I said, this is what's happening. Everybody's speculating. If you get on any of the forums, that's all they're talking about. They would come out and say, everything's fine. This happened. We had to cancel it. Fight's still on. But we haven't got that. I would bet dollars to donuts right now they're scrambling looking for a backup fight.
Okay. What do you think, Steve?
And this fight was just announced like a week ago, right? Week or two ago?
Yeah, like 2 or so.
I think Conor. Yeah, then again, you've been training for this fight for years. But as far as the official, to give his time serious preparation, who knows what he's been doing? I say most likely it's too close to the deadline. I don't think he had a quick notice before like that. 4 weeks out and then trained in. I don't think he's trading way longer than that for any fights before. I think I remember.
Didn't they
Yeah.
announce the fight after UFC 300 at the press conference?
Yeah, you're right. So it's been more than 2 weeks. But even if they just announced it at that, he's known. Conor McGregor calls the shot, so it's not like they're catching him off guard. He's known probably a long time before they actually announced it. So take that for what it's worth. You were gonna say something else though, Steve?
Yeah, I was just wondering that. Like I said, Connor's a busy man. Maybe UFC is interrupting his schedule now. I think that's what Dana wants to prevent. Too many Connors.
I think the fight still happens. It's just too close. If they do have to have a backup fight, it's gonna be probably the worst spot pay-per-view of the year because I don't even know who you could put in there outside of having a quick turnaround for a champion or just throw a champion in there just for the sake of it and throw off the upcoming schedule. But I think the fight still happens. It's Conor. I mean, he could just be having a diva moment and they didn't have the right type of rollout for him. He probably would do some stupid shit like that. So nothing surprised me about this guy. Admire is leaning towards they not having a fight. I think they probably will still have it, but I don't know. I really don't care until not even the week of the fight, till the day of the fight. And then that's when I know that, we're on and popping. But with that being said, getting back to the main topic at hand, you think that if Conor falls out of the fight, then Islam will face Chandler. But you don't think anybody else in the division could challenge Islam outside of Chandler? I don't even think that would be that competitive.
I don't think there's anybody that could mess with Islam. He's going to take everybody down. A lot of those guys that are in that top 10 are ground guys. Oliveira, we've already seen that. Somebody like a Dariush. A lot of them are ground fighters that Islam's going to eat up on the ground. A lot of them are strikers that Islam's going to just take down and eat up on the ground. If who else you going to throw in there? You going to throw a Holloway in there? You going to throw a Gaethje in there?
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't faced Gaethje yet, so.
But I mean, didn't Dustin submit Gaethje? No, that was Chandler.
Gaethje knocked him out the last time they fought.
Right.
And
Right.
Then Gaethje lost to Holloway.
Right. But somebody like Holloway, what's Islam going to do to Holloway if they fight? He's going to get a hold of him.
Okay. Well, let's talk about a likely scenario at the end of the fight during not the press conference, through the post-fight interview. Islam said he wants to go up a weight class to challenge himself. So how would Islam fare well against Leon Edwards? Because that's probably what they're leaning towards. Islam facing Leon Edwards for the undisputed welterweight championship.
I don't think they're going to do that. I mean, Islam's got how many title defenses? One?
Yeah. Well, we know that's not an issue. Him not barely defending the belt before jumping up. I've seen it happen.
Right. I mean, I would like to move up to welterweight. You're going to have a little bit bigger guys that are stronger that can, kind of match up with him better. I think a Leon Edwards fight with him would be good. I would give a slight edge to Leon Edwards.
Yeah, that's probably like the biggest jump besides like light heavyweight and middleweight. 15 pounds between lightweight and welterweight. So who will he be able to deal with that weight jump?
I think so. I think he would deal with it okay, but I think he's going to be just a little bit undersized still, and I think that's where the welterweights would have the advantage over him and make it a little bit more level playing field. Because he's just so good, man. He's strong with the takedown, strong with the wrestling on the ground. I want to see it.
What are your thoughts, Steve?
Yeah, I think I would lean more towards Edwards, just considering, I think Kamaru, what was there a talk between Kamaru and Khabib? But anyways, just the fact that he defended the second fight with Kamaru's takedowns and pretty well, and first and second fight survived, gives me more lead to it could even out with Islam just because of the weight difference and the strength. Plus Leon Edwards striking. I would lean towards more Leon if that fight were ever to be booked.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see what happens. We've seen other fighters jump up and not really have an issue with the weight, and his fighting style would say that would translate up there. It's not like he's at lightweight just cold knocking people out. He's shown to improve on the striking, so I think he'll fare well up there. And who knows if Edwards is still a champion? He has a fight in 2 months. Coming up I think they're having that one overseas, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong, but we'll see what Bilal Muhammad and whatnot, and that the world would burn if Bilal Muhammad wins the belt. He has a lot of haters, but hey, you can't knock him if he's winning. So we'll keep our eye out on what happens with that. But like Admire says, it doesn't really like a lot of people could beat Islam. He doesn't have really a lot of holes in his game, and he's shown he's able to tough fights out. So I'm curious to see what his next move is. Thank you for checking out this Haymaker Combat Sports segment. This full episode can be found on the Haymaker Combat Sports YouTube page and in audio form on all major podcast platforms. Until next time, peace.